he's dropped a few bombshells before when on international duty, Paul Pogba, particularly recently. Are we expecting anything again from the Pogba camp, or is he going to be tight-lipped? What do you think?
You're right. So it would be interesting to see. I think there's a few English journalists already planning to come over just in case, you know, Pogba goes in the mix zone and again has a word or two. I think it's always the same. He will be with Deschamps, and Deschamps will say to him, listen, calm down. There's no need for you to go to war with Mourinho. That's not going to benefit you. It's not going to benefit your team. It's not going to benefit your club either. So, I mean, Deschamps is such a wise guy, and he's such a voice of wisdom for Pogba, and that's how Pogba sees it. That I think Pogba and Deschamps being reunited. You know, I know they can speak on the phone, but it's not the same when they're together at Clairefontaine. And Deschamps, I think, will have good advice for Pogba to tell him to, you know, for now, just keep it quiet, keep working. Things will get better if you work at it, but just don't go crazy like you've been a few times already this season, which created a bit of chaos. And I think that's what we see. But some of the English journals are going over, and they might be disappointed this time.
Stevie, how important are these matches for Pogba with France?
For Pogba personally, it's absolutely huge. You know, the guy, when he steps on the field with the red of United on it, regardless of what he does, he gets criticised. You know, the guy could do 10 fantastic things, but right now, when he makes a mistake, everybody seems to zero in on it. So for him to get away and go to play in France and kind of be in amongst the pack, if you will, because at United he kind of stands out, both physically and because of what's happening there. So it's a nice little place for him to basically go and hide for a bit.
Look, speaking from my own personal experiences, when things weren't going well for me at club level, it was always great to go back to Trinidad and Tobago to play international football. Now, I never played at a club as big as Paul Pogba, never faced the kind of pressure or scrutiny that Paul Pogba does. Also keeping in mind that France, still a few months out from winning the World Cup, they can do no wrong. They are playing with a luxury and a freedom that comes with being World Cup winners. You can go there, you can enjoy the game, whether you win 2-0 or lose 2-0, it really doesn't matter. So it's a welcome escape for Paul Pogba at a time that I think he needs it most.
Let's not kid ourselves here. Jose Mourinho, it fits the narrative for him if Paul Pogba goes away and plays poorly for France. Because if Pogba turns up and has an absolute world day against a team like Germany, controls the midfield, does some dazzling stuff, maybe pipes up with a couple of goals, whatever it is.
Won't he be motivated to do that?
I certainly would be. Takes the headlines, and then that puts more eyes on Mourinho from the outside world, from particularly the fans and the media, saying, well, the consensus is that it's Mourinho that is holding Pogba back. I don't buy that 100% because the player has to take responsibility. But the better he plays for France, the more eyes go on Mourinho and how he's holding the player back.
Things not working as you'd like them to work here at Manchester United?
For many different reasons.
Can you tell us some of those reasons?
No.
Jose, you've gone 4 without a win. The club's only won 5 without a win, once since 1999. Do you accept that kind of a run for a club of this size? It's not good enough.
Yes, I accept.
And are the fans assured that you're doing everything that you can to try and turn this around?
Okay, can we move on to the second part?
That's it, huh? 3 minutes, the total length of that press conference. Pretty short. Mirror has reported an exclusive that Jose Mourinho will be sacked by the end of the weekend, regardless of Manchester United's result against Newcastle.
I think that's key, regardless of result. Now, as you say, it's been reported by the Manchester correspondent from the Daily Mirror, David MacDonald, who's a well-respected journalist. And so, I mean, you know, obviously he's getting his information from somewhere, very close from within the club. However, regardless of results would kind of make sense because, you know, whether it's a decision has been potentially made before this press conference and had already been decided, or whether that was just the final straw where the board are just saying, listen, this just can't go on. I mean, Mourinho just looks utterly, utterly bored with the whole situation. I understand it's not ideal having to sit down before a game and after a game and take the same questions every week. But it's unfortunately part of his job, and he just doesn't look as if he has the stomach for it anymore.
Jules, I wonder what you've made of this report and really what you made of Mourinho's press conference, if we can call it that, from this morning.
Yeah, I mean, I did think while watching it at 8 o'clock UK time this morning, which was really early, he moved it forward on purpose. I did wonder at the time, it felt like something was, was up, that almost like if he knew something was over. I mean, the last question that we showed, the one about, can you reassure the fan that you are doing everything to turn things around? For him not to answer, I thought one was so disrespectful to every single Manchester United fans around the world, and two was like, what's going on, mate? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why are you not responding to the one question? The only one he should have picked to respond was this one. Just say anything. Just say anything, but just give them something. And instead, I mean, you could see in his eyes, he looked like, you know what, I don't care. I don't care if I turn things around. And like Craig said, I don't know if that was the final straw or if the decision was made before, but it looked to me that he knew the writing was on the wall already and that there was nothing to do in that press conference, that he had nothing to do there. I don't know if he would be sacked this weekend. I was told last weekend that he wouldn't be there against Chelsea after the international break for the next game after this Newcastle game. But he felt this week, I thought after the Valencia game, that he looked a beat in his press conference after the game, despite the pretty boring game that his team put out. But this morning, I thought it looked like he knew it was over.
It's interesting that Jules chose to highlight the final question in that press conference. Stevie, you and I were talking about it before the show. You actually thought that question...
I thought it was a stupid question.
...was disrespectful to Mourinho, right?
Let's be honest, what's he going to say? No, I'm not working hard to change things around. I mean, the fact is, are we really surprised that this probably will happen? No, because the place is an absolute circus. Listen, it's one thing when your team's not playing well and not getting the results they should. It's a whole different ball game when there's a circus going on. We're actually talking more about that than we are the problems on the field. So the only way to get rid of the circus is get rid of the ringmaster, and that's Mourinho.
Shaka, you agree right now? Now's the time. Got to do it.
Well, now's as good a time as any. I think the only thing that's kept Jose Mourinho in a job this long is that we're not quite sure who his replacement is going to be. We're not quite sure who's available, first of all. So maybe Manchester United are starting to have conversations. Maybe some of those conversations are bearing fruit and they just have to cross their T's and dot the I's over the break. But as we sit right now, Jose Mourinho looks like he's lost the dressing room. I don't think that he can get it back. Added speculation that Alexis Sanchez and his representatives have approached the club about trying to find a way out. When you disenfranchise Alexis Sanchez, Paul Pogba, and so many others within that dressing room, I'm not sure where else to turn. And maybe it is just a stopgap measure, but it wasn't going to get any better.
I think the international break, and in terms of the timing of this, would make sense because it just buys them a few more days. It doesn't buy you a long time, but it certainly buys you a bit more time if you need to make some decisions on the managerial front, incoming and outgoing. But then one of the big concerns here, and Stevie mentioned this, and it is a circus, is one, the way they're playing, is two, the star player at the club and a global brand in Paul Pogba is fighting with the manager almost every day, or certainly every week. And three, the style of football is certainly not going to get any better. And four, at this current moment in time, with this manager and this group of players, there's absolutely no guarantee that Manchester United will be playing Champions League football again next year. Because they're not going to win the competition this year, clearly. And at the moment, I would say getting into the top four in England is going to be a tough task, the way things are going.
Does Manchester City-Liverpool feel like the next, maybe big, important rivalry in the Premier League?
I think Liverpool and Stevie will know better than me. I think Liverpool and Man United, no matter what happens, will always be a huge rivalry.
Even United at 10th?
Well, sometimes it goes out with how the team is doing at this particular moment. There's more to it than that. However, there is no doubt on head-to-head in terms of football quality at the moment, probably along with Chelsea just behind, then this is the biggest game in the Premier League in terms of on the pitch. For sure, absolutely. Two of the best attacking teams, two of the fastest, most dynamic teams, two managers that want to play one way, and two guys that have had good success, particularly Guardiola in England. Klopp's got them to a Champions League final, but he's yet to win any silverware with Liverpool. And obviously that for them has to be the next step.
We saw the head-to-head record there, certainly from last year. Does Liverpool have Manchester City's number? Does Klopp have Pep's number? Do you see any of that in these matchups?
No, I don't. I don't. Listen, it's a lot easier chasing than it is staying at the top. And for me last year, that's what Liverpool were doing. So whenever they were playing City, it was easier for them. They weren't expected to win. City were the team that were dominating everybody. So it's a different ball game when you're at the top as opposed to chasing somebody at the top. And this game, for me, no question, is about two teams that, at their best, are very difficult to separate.
But then at the same time, last season, you look back to the Champions League ties, you can't really say Liverpool were chasing in that circumstance. I thought Liverpool were outstanding in both legs. Yes, they got the benefit of some decisions there. I think where things are different, I thought Liverpool were very much on the back end of last season, and Manchester City maybe were starting to fade slightly. I think you're seeing a different City in that they're not playing as free-flowing, or certainly not brushing everybody aside as they were. They're far more gritty this time around. On the other side of the coin, I just feel that front three that was so fantastic for Liverpool last season haven't really got it together just yet. And as a result, I see them as being a little bit off the pace as to where they were when they met in the Champions League last season.
Sorry, they haven't got it together just yet. But the one thing I would say, it's been supported by the fact that their Achilles heel for quite a few years now looks really good, the defence. Now, that might sound a little strange coming off the back of it wobbling a little bit in Naples, but particularly in the full-back areas, Stevie and I were talking about it in a week, they get no protection whatsoever. So that front three did play a part in not protecting the back four. That being said, the Gomez Van Dijk axis has looked really good, and particularly with the goalkeeper in behind as well. The interesting thing is as well, I was looking this, I saw this earlier. Man City haven't won at Anfield since 2003. 12 victories for Liverpool and 5 draws. So this has been, can't say a happy hunting ground because they're at home, but it's been a happy fixture at Anfield for Liverpool in recent years.
All right, great to have you with us here on this Friday edition of Extra Time, steaming into the weekend.
I just realised I missed that.
Missed what?
Well, you always, whenever you do Extra Time, you always start with, all right.
I'm sorry. I'm not asking the director to do that job. Can we get the ISO shot of Stevie while he does my all right? What do I sound like again, Stevie?
Oh, what's his face? All right, all right, all right.
No, do what you just did.
All right.
All right.
All right.
That's what it looks like?
Is that how he introduces Extra Time?
You don't even hear it, no?
No.
Yeah, you're just accustomed to it. Okay. The joys of Extra Time.
Was he's got another one as well. Was it, hey, buddy?
Hey, no, it's hey there, everybody.
Oh, yeah, right.
I just say it with such enthusiasm.
Yeah, right. But hey there. It's like, hey, buddy. Like, what?
I like to have a collegial, friendly atmosphere here on the show.
Okay.
Collegial.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Collegial.
Yeah.
What did you pull that for?
Actually, you know, Craig was helping me with my vocabulary earlier.
Collegial.
How do you spell it?
What does that mean?
Collegial? He'll tell you in just a moment. I need to move on to Extra Time here. C-O-L-L.
You don't need to do it.
All right.
C-O-L-L-E-G-I-A-L. Collegial. Yeah, just like it sounds, Stevie. Just like it sounds.
Go on, then we'll get back.
We'll get back to that one. Okay. Just as long as you're okay. All right. Messagician wants to know. I guess this is about Jules, but it's not really for Jules. Don't you guys think that Jules looks like Thomas Tuchel? Do we have a split screen? Is that?
He does, doesn't he?
Let's get a look at
shaped
Jules.
head and hair, but Jules is.
Yeah. Which one is Jules?
Jules is the one with the bigger head.
Oh, well.
Jules, do you get that a lot? Do people tell you you look like Tuchel?
No, this is the first time. Surely I'm better looking than Thomas Tuchel anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, you're not getting that head through a fence. You get that heat stuck in a bar.
What was it that could be described as?
Collegial.
No.
No. Aye, go on.
That head is a sniper's dream.
Wow.
That's a quote I heard from somebody. A sniper's dream. A collegio, a person with whom one works, especially in a profession or business.
You know, I want to have a good
So how
feeling.
does shouting, hey, buddy, keep it collegial?
I don't really know. I may have misused the word, to be honest.
Yeah,
I was kind of hoping we would move on and not get to it.
Well done.
All right, let's move on. Reza, what is the
buddy.
greatest individual Champions League performance ever? Jules? why don't you lead the way on this one? Greatest individual Champions League performance ever?
Yeah, obviously people got really excited by Lionel Messi on Wednesday at Wembley against Spurs, which I can understand. He was pretty special. I mean, there's been a few. I think Lewandowski scoring 4 goals for Borussia Dortmund against Real Madrid in the semi-final a few years ago was a big one. Probably the one that stick up for me in recent years, I would have to go for Lewandowski.
Don't know about individual, but the greatest, because there's been so many good individual performances, but one of the greatest team ones I saw was the Barcelona 2011.
I think said, yeah, you don't know what he was going to say.
At Wembley, the game at Wembley.
At Wembley. I didn't know he was going to say that.
Because it was the greatest Champions League performance ever.
I was there.
I saw Barcelona and you went, yeah.
I knew what he was going to say. I knew what he was going to say.
I was doing the World Feed comms that night, right? And I think, I might be wrong, but I think United took the lead. I might be wrong. Anyway, it just kicked them into gear.
Yeah, you're wrong. They didn't take the lead.
They didn't take the lead?
No.
Oh, anyway.
It was 1-1. Barca scored first.
All right, anyway.
Did you say, I remember it very well? Is that what you...
No, I remember the performance very well. And I saw Sir Alex Ferguson. I didn't see him. I was in the behind the scenes after the game. I saw him walking through the bowels of Wembley to the press conference. And he looked like a man who'd just been hit by a train. He was like shell-shocked. That was how good they were. I mean, and that was a good United side. Unbelievable. So it was 2011, so he was right.
See?
Let's keep it moving. Shaka, this one's for you. Mbappe and Griezmann win the World Cup. They're better than Messi? Bale took Wales, spelled W-H-A-L-E-N.
He took Wales where?
To a major tournament. Giggs didn't. Does that make Bale better than
Wales?
Giggs?
Bale took Wales.
He took a big whale to the tournament.
Oh, no, he took more than one. He took Wales.
I'm trying.
If you can ride a whale to a tournament, you deserve every accolade.
There was one other question here. Have you ever seen a better finisher, passer of the football, or better chance creator than Messi?
Altogether,
yes.
or just
all of it?
Have I ever seen a better finisher, a better passer?
All of it. Let's say combined.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
He's the best footballer I've ever seen.
Yep.
It's a lot to pick through.
Best I've ever seen.
He's not answering any of those questions.
No, he's
no. Well, because it starts with a ridiculous question.
It starts with a ridiculous
stupid question.
Even Messi couldn't take Wales.
Playing dodgeball right now. He's giving it all.
I'm not playing. I'm not answering a question like.
Right.
So because Mbappe wins the World Cup, how do you get that from anything I said? It's idiotic.
Right.
You're just not answering that because it's got whales in it.
Yeah.
I like that part. That part.
We got to do a better job screening these questions.
Don't you hate the people? Sorry, don't you hate people on social media?
Yeah.
That I don't mean everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. But don't you hate? Don't they hate the ones if you make a spelling mistake, or it's
the grammar mistake,
or it's a grammatical error, or it's even an auto thing from your phone system. Don't you hate the people that come on and correct you?
You get a lot of that.
There's a lot to hate about
you get a lot of
social media.
Well, no, because fortunately, I make the odd grammatical error, but hopefully not too many.
Just keep it collegial.
Well, what I'm saying is, if people got nothing better to do in their lives than come on and tell you that you've got you're there, and you're there mixed up.
Well, it's their moment to prove TV's Craig Burley wrong.
I know a man, and I do know a man that makes quite a few grammatical errors on Twitter.
Whom?
Well, we'd start with capitalizing a sentence.
Do tell.
Do you know how to capitalize?
Please do tell.
What you don't realise is still double bluff. I'm throwing the hook at.
That's how you throw a hook?
If you do it for screening purposes.
Giggles.
I mean, he's got his twos and his twos all the way around. He's theirs and he's theirs and he's there. Oh, it's magical.
The theirs are just lucky dip. You don't know what's coming up.
Right, I've got three choices.
Hey, have you got any more questions about Messi for him?
I've got three choices in there. What one am I going to go for?
I'm going to get one right. If I use the same there all the time, I'm going to get it right once.
And if he throws out the THEIR one, then the next one's going to be different.
I said to school teachers that here.
All right.
Come on then. Right, come on then. Hold on. In what context is the difference between
Boil your head.
starting to sweat. He's starting to sweat.
Like, starting to sweat. Hey, listen, you get still here on time. Oh, look at him. Sweat.
Look at him trying.
But that's, how long will we sit waiting for that?
I was 5 minutes late today.
5 minutes.
Stevie's trying. That's a U-turn on your part. I gotta say.
Well, if I'd been 5 minutes late for the kick-off, that would have been good, wouldn't it?
Is Shaq described that particularly well? When you're using the veers, is it a lucky dip?
What? He's gone. The laugh is taken.
Gone.
The laugh is taken.
Oh, go for this one.
Heat up the clock. So another mess.
You know you can never make a there mistake on Twitter now.
I have no intention of.
No.
There.
Where?
Right.
Here.
We got any more questions, Sebastian?
What about you being late? What about you being late anyway?
No more questions. Just a reminder, we do this 7 days a week. Find us on ESPN Plus, wherever you want.
All right.
Send us your questions.
Italy coach Roberto Mancini has named his squad, Shaka, for a couple of games coming up. Big news for Toronto and MLS fans. Giovinco back after a 3-year absence. What do you make of that?
Makes sense to me. And the thing is, it speaks to Italy's lack of firepower, not just right now, but they have been for quite some time. To put things in perspective, and listener, understand, Giovinco is playing for Toronto, it's MLS, one of the lesser leagues, and you just feel that it doesn't give him the platform to play for a team like Italy. But Euro 2014, Italy goes to that tournament with Eder and Simone Zaza, the Sampdoria and Juventus. They could barely get games themselves at the time for their respective clubs. And then last qualifying for the World Cup, which Italy didn't, they fell at the hands of Sweden, started that second leg with Gabbiadini up front. He could barely get a goal for Southampton. At the same time, Giovinco is scoring bucket loads for Toronto. And I felt, given their struggles, given their woes, he at least deserved a look in, at least deserved to be called into the squad. He wasn't, that was their choice, but their struggles are now part of their own history and theirs to tell. It makes sense to at least have him in the squad.
If he's honest, do you think he'd given up hope, having not played for his country for 3 years? And playing well most weeks for MLS and not getting a chance.
Yeah, I think he would have at this point, and it probably came a little bit out of the blue. Because given how good he has been for Toronto, and again, given their struggles, I certainly thought he deserved a call-up. He, I'm sure, thought exactly as much. And then if the call-up doesn't come, then at some point you've got to say, well, that train has now left the station.
Just finally, the Italian clubs had a really good week in the Champions League, and Serie A is thriving right now. So what's the problem with the national team?
I don't know, and that's a difficult one to put your finger on. There are a lot of parallels between the Italian Serie A and the English Premier League and the struggles of the English team. I know this is, I'm seeing this on the back of England's best showing at the international tournament for quite some time. But it's a strange one in that regard. For as good as Italian football is, their own representation in those Italian teams, Italian club teams, some are pointing to the fact that there aren't enough Italians representing the biggest of the Italian clubs, that it may be in some aging players and not enough in terms of a quick enough and a youthful enough turnover. I think those issues are complex and need to be looked at in depth, from the grassroots all the way up through to the top of Italian football.
Not something that Giovinco needs to worry about right now. He's back in the Italian squad, first time in 3 years, and hopefully he can kickstart the Italians, whose form of late has not been good. We're going to start the La Liga Predictor a bit differently this week. Alongside Shaka Hislop, 8 teams. What's your favourite badge?
Oh, my favourite badge? This one looks like my kids made it. Alaves.
Not finished.
It's like colour inside the lines, kids.
It's got a bear in it, Atleti.
Okay.
Bit of pink for Celta Vigo. What are you going for?
I like the Celta Vigo.
Okay.
The colours.
Thank you.
I'm a palettes kind of guy.
Yeah. I liked it this week. Bats, bears, all sorts going on. Like it this week. Anyway, La Liga Predictor time. your your drawn-in badgy thing, Alaves, taking on Real Madrid. They've started the season all right.
They've started the season really well.
Unlike their badge.
I've been very good at home. And as much as Real Madrid have struggled of late, it's got to come good.
It will. It will.
I'm going to go Real.
Last time out away from home, lost 3-0 at Sevilla. Won't happen. The Bear against the green thing, Atletico Madrid, taking on Betis, who are just a place behind them in the league.
And Betis have been going
They have.
great of late, but this is Atletico Madrid who found their form and at home win.
Yeah, not complaining there. Sevilla against your best badge of the quintet. No, what would it be? The 8. I don't know what 8 would be, because quintet's 5. What's 8?
Octuplets.
Is it really? You made that up. I don't know if that's true. Is it really? Mm-hmm. It said it believably. What?
Plets.
Octuplets. Octobox, but I'm not sure. Goodness. This might not make air. Valencia, Barca. Hey, before you get to this, ready? Barca unbeaten in 13 at Mestalla since March 2008 in the Copa del Rey. Is this the time?
Oh, you come up with a stat. I thought you were going to tell me something about the bat.
What's...
Well, it's just been that kind of a predictor. Barca beat the bats.
Octuplets. I'm still not sure about this. This is going to be a draw.
You just want to mention the bat, don't you? Go on, say it. Tell everybody about the bat.
Or the bear. I prefer the bear to the bat. Octuplets. The first thing I do when this is finished is on Google. I don't believe you. It's not true. It might be, it might be. Might not be. That's this week's La Liga Predictor. Today's transfer rater, we begin with Chucky Lozano from PSV. The Mexican's a wonderful player, Shaka, but where would he fit in at Spurs? Because Son, Lamela, Ericsson, Lucas, Moura, Ali.
Yeah, but he gives an option with pace, which I think is important. I like this. It ticks a lot of boxes in terms of how Tottenham have done their business. And right now, I think it's less about where he fits in the starting 11, but how much he adds to this squad and allows Pochettino to rotate, given the number of competitions that Spurs continue to compete in. So I put that down as a hit for that reason.
This one's interesting. Lorenzo Pellegrini is a wonderful central midfielder for Roma and for the Italian national side. But do you think the Manchester United board would trust their manager to buy players right now?
Maybe. They continue to say that they're backing Jose Mourinho. I know that Roma are trying to get Pellegrini to renew his contract. At the same time, despite the board's continued faith or seeming faith in Jose Mourinho, I just feel that there's too much going on behind the scenes there. If you're a player like Pellegrini who will continue to attract attention from other clubs, why United? Why right now?
Ever Banega's an interesting one because he would be a ready-made replacement for Aaron Ramsey if Ramsey was to go. But he's not exactly a spring chicken, Banega. He's getting on a bit.
He is, but he will give a little bit more steel to that midfield, which I think Arsenal desperately need. And right now, it's less about the long term for Arsenal than the short term. Maybe it's a short-term fix, but I think it's a good one.
Okay, Anthony Martial, we've been here before to lead Man United.
Yeah, I thought he would have left this summer. I'm going to put this down as a miss because I think everybody's playing chicken in terms of who leaves first. Is it going to be player or manager? So I'm going to say a miss for right now because given the continued speculation around Jose Mourinho and his own future, maybe Martial thinks just sitting tight might be his best bet for now.
If I'm a Spurs fan, I'm watching this, and I see this again, oh look, they've got Kane to Real Madrid. I'm going to be chucking stuff at the TV.
Yeah, of course, but I'm going to put this down as a miss for now. The speculation is that if Spurs don't get out of the group in the Champions League, that a January transfer is on the cards to Real Madrid. I think Kane ticks a lot of boxes for Real Madrid. I just don't think it makes sense in January. Won't be able to play in the Champions League if Spurs don't go and Real Madrid advance. Maybe it makes sense in terms of if Real Madrid are still within touching distance of Barcelona or Atleti at the top of La Liga table. I just feel it makes a whole lot more sense next summer as opposed to January. So I'm putting that down as a miss for January.
For now.
For now.
By the way, you've got quite a presence here. When I can see why strikers always had problems scoring by you. You're a big lad.
I scared them to death.
Clearly.
That was my trick.
Massive.